Hello and welcome back to another Eurostyling UK vlog. So we recorded this vlog some time ago, but then we lost all the footage and we thought it'd be really important to do it again. So here it is. It's all about having an accident in Spain. Imagine the scene, absolutely stunning scenery, up in the mountains, hardly anybody around, absolutely beautiful. We had a fabulous night, and the morning we had a little bit of rain. Now,
and we ummed and ahed, should we stay one more night, as we had such a nice sleep and it was such beautiful surroundings and we weren't in a particular rush, or should we move on? And then we thought, let's move on. We head towards a wild camp on Estepona, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we thought, let's go there, go down to the coast. Doris loves the beach, so she can go for a run. So we decided to get going and leave our wild camp, which we were on, up in the mountains. It was absolutely beautiful.
it really was.
So we left there. It's kind of before we got there, we'd actually we'd been driving quite a lot over the mountain roads. So that was our last stop on the mountain roads.
Yeah.
Before we would have then hit the main road. So we then left there and we were heading back along the mountain roads until we would have reached the main road to Ronda. The main Ronda road. So that road is a main road.
Yeah.
So we were literally at the last, not hairpin, but it was a sharp turn on the mountain road. And as we came crawling around the corner, a car came towards us, judged the corner far too wide. It went far too wide and far too fast for the corner, and basically skidded with the wet surface right into the side of us. So it was obviously my side, passenger side.
Yeah.
And just skidded from the front of the tyre back until the back tyre, I suppose, isn't it? That whole side.
The whole side.
And it just sounded terrible.
Yeah, it didn't sound good.
The noise was... It was like the worst noise you could ever hear, wasn't it?
It was awful, yeah. So
it was just horrible.
We instantly thought, holiday over, that's it.
What are we going to do? As soon as we stopped, my first thought was grab my phone and put it on camera mode and just take a picture of the driver's car, because at that point I didn't know what their car would be like, and I just had visions of what if they just drove off.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of their car, but once we got out of the vehicle we then realised her car wasn't going to drive anywhere.
No, there was no chance that was going to drive anywhere.
No. So then we obviously went over to the car, and it was a lovely lady.
Really, really lovely lady.
Could have been the nicest person to crash into.
Spoke English, spoke Spanish, and was
Romanian.
as well. So she was absolutely lovely. She had 2 children in the car. Nobody was injured. We weren't injured. She wasn't injured. None of the kids were injured.
And she just
Doris is fine.
She said
so
to
we're
her
all good.
children, we're about to go onto the mountain road. She's never done these mountain roads before, so she lives down on the coast, and it was like the school holiday. She thought she'd take them out for a trip in the mountains. And as she approached this road, she turned around and said to her children, we need to be extremely careful on these roads. And the first turn she got to, she completely judged it wrong, and obviously, as we've said, crashed into the side of us. But we have had to call the police. But the scariest part of it was the fact we were on this
bend, and everybody's just driving like lunatics.
Yeah, no one was slowing down.
And they were trying to slow people down to tell them that it's slippery, but no, they just kept putting their foot down.
The lady had her 2 children in the car, and we were scared for them because, people obviously just see me, Matt, and the lady slowing traffic down each end, whilst we were waiting for the police, but probably unaware there's 2 small children in this car as well, and I was just like petrified for them.
Yeah.
So we kind of positioned ourselves all around the bend, didn't we? Had our triangles out, and we were just trying to get this traffic to slow, and it felt like a lifetime waiting for the police. But it probably wasn't a lifetime, but I think every time that vehicle come around that corner, your heart was just like you just were just so fearful for everybody, because obviously we'd seen that the lady crash into us. And actually one time before we were in Ronda, or going to Ronda, we'd seen a car on the roads, I don't know why we keep going back, flipped in front of us and landed upside down on the verge of the mountain road as well, and we had to call emergency help for that one as well. So we're kind of cursed with Ronda, and also...
And then I was ill when we went to Ronda, so we've decided that Ronda is a no-go for us.
Maybe we shouldn't
go to Ronda.
But we've done everything there anyway now, so I would have gone back to the stop that we stayed at, but we've seen it, and there's other places to explore, and we kind of like to go scoot above it, I think, at some point, and go and see some. We probably will. I don't know, but I think maybe we should just stay clear for a while.
Yeah.
As we said, we would all position ourselves in the road while we waited for the police, and they did eventually turn up, and they were really brilliant. When they
were really nice. Yeah.
They didn't talk much English,
No.
and luckily for us, the lady again who crashed into us was like our translator.
Yeah.
She was so good and so patient. So she really did help with the situation, didn't she?
Yeah, really, really good. When we were there, the police turned around and said to us, "Have you got your accident form?"
And we
were like,
"Accident form?
Accident form?
No." And then they went, "You need it with your insurance." And we were like, Not in the UK.
Not in the UK. You don't need."
In Spain, it's legislation or law, I don't know, but they must carry accident form.
This is the accident form, and what we'll do is we'll do a link to it to the description down below.
So actually, the lady in question didn't have her accident form, so she got a bit of a telling off because she should have had one.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't get telling off because we didn't have to have one, and then the police had some copies, so they gave us an accident form. And with the form, you basically are describing the accident in your own words, drawing a little sketch. You're also capturing all your details of your insurance company, your home address, your telephone number. So this one form, when you're in a massive panic and you're not always thinking, what do I need from this person, it has everything on there, so it aids you to make sure that you don't go off and think, oh my goodness, I forgot to ask this. And you fill it in, the other person fills it in, and also the police are there. They will sign it as well, won't they?
Yeah. So the form does come in various languages, so you can download the different languages. So we've got, because we're travelling again soon, we've got one in Spanish, one in Portuguese, and one obviously in English. So yeah, it's really, really good. So you can put everything that happened.
Obviously, since our accident, as you just said, we will always carry these accident forms. I think even in the UK, it's important. I think if you put one in your car, because like we say, when you're in that panic, we were all waiting for the police to turn up. We keep saying to each other, what do we need to ask? We need to ask for insurance, we need the name, we need the address. And you're trying to remember, because you don't have an accident every day.
No.
You're like, what details do I need? So by having that in your car is a real good thing to have, because if you are in that panic mode, you've got that and you've got a pen, you're going to get all the details you need, so it takes that stress away. So once we filled the accident form, the lady's car was a write-off. She wasn't allowed to drive it. Well, I don't think know if it was a write-off, but kind of their law or legislation is it needs to get taken to the repair centre and assessed to see if it's ready if it's able to go on the road. The bumper, everything was hanging off, so it definitely needed some attention, and it shouldn't be driven. But they were happy for us to
carry on our journey.
So we had a lot of damage down the side. Our flue had completely broken off. We couldn't go to the wild camp that we wanted to go to because we knew that it wasn't safe to heat any water or any heating on gas. So we needed to go somewhere with a hookup. So we literally our minds were all over the place.
Yeah,
we were really shaken, but we needed to find a campsite.
So we needed to find a campsite. So we started heading towards a few places. And Gemma was trying to find somewhere whilst I was driving.
Trying to ring and one was really
bearing in mind this is the day of Kings, or the day before Kings, so it's the big bank holiday in Spain, so it's the equivalent of Christmas for the Spanish.
Yeah, so a few of the sites were like, nope, we're full, and then there was one that just wasn't answering, so we thought, right, let's just go and turn up and see.
Just see if we can get on.
And I think we got one of the last
spaces. We got one of the last spaces.
The best space,
but it was somewhere to sleep.
It was a respite, it was somewhere to stay, it had a hookup. And it had a restaurant, so we literally got there. We hadn't eaten because we left. I think we had breakfast, and then we left with a plan to go shopping and get some food. And then, well, obviously we were so delayed for hours. We were starving, so we got there, hooked up, and then went to the restaurant.
So we had something to eat there, and then we went back to the van, and then we called our insurers, which are LV. Now, LV were fabulous. They really were. They were really helpful on the phone. So bearing in mind this was a Thursday, so Thursday afternoon we sent all the information across to them, all the paperwork that we had from the police, and then on the Friday morning I got a text message from LV saying that we weren't being held responsible, so everything was sorted that way. LV were fantastic, and they just said to us, we'll sort it out when you get back to the UK.
Yeah.
So
Continue holiday.
So continue your holiday and we'll sort it out when we get back to the UK. So LV were fantastic up until this point. And then we'll talk about LV in a minute or two.
Yeah, so obviously LV were happy for us to continue our journey. We had one concern about the tyre, because where the car crashed into the side, it hit our tyre quite bad. So we knew we needed to try and seek a tyre repair shop just to make sure it was safe to drive, especially because we were going to Morocco and we know that Moroccan roads aren't the best at times. So we wanted to get that checked out, and we also needed to source a flue.
Yeah.
And again, as we said, it was this busy bank holiday, King's
Everything was
weekend,
closing early and yeah.
So we then spent like you spent a lot of time trying to find somewhere where we could get a flue from, because we could not go to Morocco, we couldn't do any wild camping,
No.
or we couldn't use our gas system on heating or basically on the Truma without this flue. So you managed to find one, didn't you?
I managed to find one. Yeah, we picked that up from Malaga, and then we also found another campsite to go to. So we went to this campsite for 1 or 2 nights, was it? Oh, it's 2 nights.
2, yeah.
2 nights. So we went there for 2 nights, and then we set about bandaging up the motorhome.
Yes, at this point we then went around several China shops because we needed gaffer tape. And Matt doesn't want any old gaffer tape. We wanted to try and make it look as discreet as possible, so we wanted white gaffer tape. And it wasn't as simple as it was. So we went round several China shops, didn't we? But in the end, mission successful. We managed to get white gaffer tape, and basically just stuck all the wheel trim on and just made it look a little
Gemma
bit...
did a very good repair job.
Yeah, I was the repairer.
Yeah.
So we got that stuck back on. The flue was back on. We went and got the tyre checked, didn't we? We got the tyre checked and it was absolutely fine, but it was just that peace of mind to know that it was safe to drive.
There was no problem with it.
So we had to get all that done.
So obviously we continued our holiday. We managed to make it to Morocco. We continued our holiday. We got back to the UK, and then we phoned the insurers. Then the problem started with LV. So they wanted to send out a assessor to come and have a look. Now apparently this is normal with high value repairs, because they're not really LV insure motorhomes, but they're not that clued up on motorhomes.
But I don't think they do now.
So we're not sure what the score is with LV now.
Maybe because of this reason.
Maybe because of this.
So the assessor then came out and was looking at the quote that PJ Lane had sent and making sure that they felt that that was of value. They weren't basically trying to rip them off. It was a fair estimate, but they felt that for some parts of it, it was slightly overcharged, or they weren't quite happy, and they thought the price was a little bit too high. So between PJ Lanes and the assessor, there was a bit of a battle, because the assessor was like, "Oh, this is a bit high, this is a bit high," and PJ Lanes was like, "No, this is the price for the bits, this is the price for labour, and this is the price for the job." So there was a battle going on, and then I think at one point PJ Lanes was a bit like, "Well, that's the price, we can't go any lower, so if you're not going to accept it, then you're going to have to take your business elsewhere." And at this point it was like really so stressful. We were like,
yeah, it was really
where
really
are we
bad.
going to take our business? And then they started suggesting other places to take the motorhome, which weren't motorhome repairs. They were just repairers for your
van
normal,
repairs.
yeah, like your Amazon van, just a basic van, not a motorhome. So they wouldn't have had any idea about ordering parts from Def Lefts. They wouldn't have been able to do it.
No.
So we were turning around and saying to LV, if we take it there, they won't be able to do the repair because they don't do motorhome repairs. And they just couldn't understand the concept of what the difference was between a motorhome and a panel van.
No, so they were LV were useless when it came to the repair of the motorhome. So they were pushing us from pillar to post. They were suggesting we were going down to a place in Tunbridge in Kent to take the motorhome down there. But I tried to explain to them that they wouldn't be able to do it, but they just didn't. We were being
understand what a motorhome was.
Battered from. We were being pushed from pillar to post. It was a nightmare.
But in the end, I think after a lot of us trying to explain to them, they kind of got it, and then finally, I think PG Lanes wiggled their price down a tiny bit because we compromised on a part, and we finally managed to get it in with them.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant because they've got such a good reputation. Their reviews are outstanding, brilliant. Their Trustpilot is absolutely good. We wanted it to go to them because we knew they were a motorhome repairer, so we did manage to get it into the PJ lanes,
Yeah.
and they have done a brilliant job. But I don't think you can insure it through LV anymore.
Well, I wouldn't. To be fair, I wouldn't bother with LV. If you're going to insure a motorhome, you need to insure it with a reputable company, that's somebody that does motorhomes.
Understand.
So, for example, the Caravan and Motorhome, the Caravan Camping Club, Comfort, Caravan Guard, all of these other companies which insure motorhomes.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Who actually understand the vehicle
motorhomes.
and realise it is not just a panel fan. So yeah. So we've learnt our lesson. We did manage to get it fixed. The only reason we went to LV was because it had the bolt-on from Morocco. But give them their due. You know, they were really good in the fact that
They instantly sorted out all the liability, so there was no worries about that.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And yeah, so they instantly sorted out the liability, and the repair is now done. It was just the stress of them not understanding the difference between a motorhome and a panel fan.
Yeah.
So, but it's done now. But the other thing we need to talk to you about is Red Pennant. So whenever we go away, we always insure through Red Pennant, which is through the Caravan and Motorhome Club, and we never ever go away without it.
So what you should do, as soon as you decide you're going on a European holiday, as soon as you've booked your ferry, get your Red Pennant, get it sorted out. So Red Pennant will cover you for basically everything. It will cover you for health. It will cover you for your vehicle. It will cover you for breakdown. It will cover you for accidents. It will cover you for absolutely anything. So say, for example, you're walking down the road and then you break your leg, and for example, Gemma can't drive the motorhome. They will send somebody out from the UK to repatriate me because I can't walk or things like that. And then Gemma will be taken home, and then the motorhome will be repatriated to the UK.
Yeah, and they also are really good if you've got dogs and like if you've got pets. If you need to get hotels or you need to get a car, they'll make sure everything is suited to you. They are so good. We never ever go about it. And on this trip, we actually had to call them on 3 occasions.
Yeah.
We called them when we had our accident, the car crash. They didn't have to really do much for us, but just the fact that they were there, they were listening to us, they were offering translations. So when we needed to go to the garage to get our wheel looked at, they were happy to ring ahead, but or if we wanted them to do translation, they could do all of that for us, and they are happy to seek and look for places for us as well. They are just so caring. As soon as they knew we had the accident, they wanted to know what campsite we were going to. They were then ringing up to check we got to that campsite. They were literally tracking us to make sure that we were getting around safely.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, moving on from the car accident, the other 2 times we called them was when we were in Morocco. We called them on 2 occasions there. Firstly, because we had COVID, and secondly, because our clutch went on our motorhome. So again, they couldn't do much with us for COVID, but at one point we were extremely ill, so they were just really concerned with our health.
Yeah.
Again, just having them checking in on us and them knowing that we weren't well meant that there was somebody else who was checking in on us. And if we did need any extra medical assistance, they would have been there to help. The other time that we called them in Morocco was around the same kind of time, was when we broke down, when our clutch had gone. So again, when you're in Morocco, it's a bit more tricky. We had to find and source the mechanic ourselves. However, once we got home, we was able to claim back for our labour, for our clutch.
Yeah.
So Red Pennant is so good, and we wouldn't go away without it.
No, we would not go without it. So we'll put a link below regarding Caravan and Motorhome Club Red Pennant. There's 2 levels of cover, so you can either go for the cheaper option, or you can go for the more premium option. We go for the cheaper option because we're cheapskates, but it's entirely up to you which one you want to go for. If you do have health issues, then you do have to declare those health issues, as with every health insurance, but they will be there for you to help you.
Yeah, it's just nice when you're away in a country, especially Morocco, and you don't talk the language. It's just that reassurance, that friendly person at the end of the phone, and someone who can help. And without them on our last trip, I don't know what we would have done. So it's just another thing to think about, making sure you've got good travel and health insurance before you go away.
So that wraps up that, and
yeah. Sorry it took a while to get out to you.
Yeah.
It's the second time we've recorded this, so hopefully, fingers crossed, if you see this, it's all gone well.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. We're getting really excited now, so we'll be heading off on our next big adventure next week.
Yeah, we're literally just packing down now. We're just getting ourselves organised, because next yeah, literally next week we are on our travels and we're away for 4 months, and we are just so excited. We will be filming and vlogging for you our travels, but don't forget, make sure you're on our Instagram, because Instagram you'll have much more updates, daily updates. It'll be much more in the moment, whereas our vlogs will be, obviously we've got to edit them, so they're gonna drip through.
Yeah.
But make sure you stay tuned in, and follow our journey.
So that's it.
That's
So
it from us. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and click that subscribe.
see you later.
See
Thanks a
you
lot.
later. Bye.
Bye.